Welcome back to the List of It, where we bring you fun and informational lists of various subjects. This time we're going to be talking about horror stories, and no one does horror quite as well as H.P. Lovecraft. So here are 10 Lovecraft stories every horror fan should read. Number 10, Couleur. Published in March of 1928, Couleur tells the story of a man who absolutely loathes even the slightest draught of cool air. The narrator settles into an apartment building in New York City and meets a strange and old doctor who lives upstairs. Like a majority of the stories on this list, I can't go into much detail without ruining the experience, but rest assured the reader will come to discover just what makes Couleur chill the main characters to the bone. There have been several adaptations of this story, including an episode of Night Gallery, a film, and even a Batman story. Number 9, The Terrible Old Man. Published in July of 1921, this short story tells the tale of a man described as so old that nobody in town knows his name or remembers him ever being young. Set in the fictional town of Kingsport, the story follows 3 young men who seek to rob the titular character of valuables that are the subject of gossip amongst the townsfolk. Readers will find out just how the terrible old man earned his nickname. Number 8, The Outsider. The Outsider is a first-person narrative told from the point of view of a man with unclear memories who has never seen the light of day or another human being. Published in April of 1926, The Outsider is one story that is better enjoyed the less you know about it. Castle Freak is a 1995 direct-to-video movie that is extremely loosely based on the story. Number 7, Dreams in the Witch House. Published in July of 1933, this is a story about Walter, a college student who rents a room of an apartment building in the fictional town of Arkham that is rumored to be cursed. Shortly after moving in, Walter begins experiencing nightmares about a witch and her familiar, a rat with the face of a man. Over time, Walter comes to realize that these visions are more than just nightmares. This story was adapted for an episode of Showtime's Masters of Horror. Number 6, The Pitcher in the House. This story is about a man seeking shelter from a storm and ending up with much more than he bargained for. Published in the summer of 1921, the main character takes shelter in an old house inhabited by a man just as old. The house is filled with antique furniture and artifacts, and the main character discovers his host has cannibalistic urges. Number 5, The Music of Eragon. Published in March of 1922, this story finds a struggling college student seeking lodging in a poor and strange district of his city. He finds an apartment and becomes acquainted with an old German musician named Eragon. After gaining Eric's trust, he learns of the musician's horrible secrets and will never quite hear music the same way again. Number 4, Pickman's Model. Another of Lovecraft's stories that would later be adapted into an episode of Night Gallery, Pickman's Model tells the story of a painter, Robert Pickman, who creates very detailed and awfully disturbing images of ghastly creatures. The story is told from the perspective of Pickman's closest friend, who finds that Pickman's works are becoming more and more horrifying and evil as they go. He worries about the state of his friend's mind until discovering one of the paintings of the creatures is not a painting at all, but rather a photograph. Number 3, The Dunwich Are. Published in April of 1929, this is a story taking place in the fictional town of Dunwich, where a hideous child known as Wilbur is shunned by the local townspeople and feared by their animals. Wilbur ages at an abnormal rate and reaches adulthood in just 10 years. Wilbur is brought up in a life of dark rituals and witchcraft and seeks to summon the Great Old Ones, cosmic, terrible, and ancient beings that once ruled the earth long before the rise of man, and who now wait in deep sleep until they can be awoken. The Old Ones are a recurring theme in Lovecraft's works. Number 2, The Call of Cthulhu. First published in February of 1928, The Call of Cthulhu just might be H.P. Lovecraft's most well-known work and is the first appearance of the legendary Cthulhu. This story tells of a cult that worships the Great Old Ones and seeks to wake the High Priest Cthulhu. An idol of Cthulhu is found which resembles a mixture of an octopus, dragon, and human. The ship's crew discovers a mysterious island which is home to the dead city where Cthulhu waits dreaming. This story has been adapted several times, but its most faithful adaptation was a silent black and white film from 2005. Number 1, The Shadow over Innsmouth. Published in April of 1936, this is one of Lovecraft's more longer stories. It's about the disturbing fictional town of Innsmouth, Massachusetts, where hybrid fishmen known as Deep Ones lurk. These abominations sacrifice humans to their deity Dagon in exchange for a plentiful haul of fish, gold, jewelry, and to appease Dagon. When first born, the hybrid creatures are not yet Deep Ones, but they slowly make the transformation as they age. Once completed, they are granted eternal life beneath the sea. 2001 film Dagon was inspired by this story and another Lovecraft tale also named Dagon. There you have 10 Lovecraft stories every horror fan should read. Hope you enjoyed our video. If you did, give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to the list of it.